Everybody, and welcome to Heat Printing Hot Summer Sales. I'm Courtney Kibitza, and today here at the Stalls TV studios, while it's raining outside and it feels much like spring, we're only a few weeks away from Memorial Day, so that leads us into looking at sales opportunities and ways that we can maximize what we print and what we sell to our customers in the early summer months before fall and sports and everything starts to take over for the school season. And there's a lot of opportunities to start decorating. Specifically today in this class, we're going to talk a lot about how to print for tournaments, specifically with baseball and different tournaments throughout the summer. Also looking at printing for vacation, so a lot of people vacation, looking for opportunities to personalize and also decorate for resorts. And then lastly, we're going to talk about family reunions, which is another big opportunity for printing and offering looks to your customers, and we're going to show you a fast and easy way to do that with transfers. And so we've got a pretty robust class here. I may even be printing a beach umbrella that you see in the front here, and even a chair to help you show you some of the different items you can print outside of the tank tops and t-shirts and shorts, which we'll also look at here today that a lot of people think about when they start printing for summer. And so I want to launch a poll real quick and just understand how many of you here are already taking advantage of these summer sales, so specifically decorating for tournaments, family reunions, or also for vacations, or whether or not this is a new market for you. So Karen, if you want to go ahead and launch that poll, that way we'll see what our viewing audience is thinking. So if this is a market you're already getting ready to go after, or if you're looking to dive in and looking for maybe some new ideas for growing your business this summer. And so it looks like we have almost all of you guys chiming in, so if you want to go ahead and let us know yes or no, whether you're heat printing for these summer markets, and then Karen, you can go ahead and close us down and see what we're thinking.
Looks like 42% said yes, they are currently decorating, and 58% said no.
Great, so we have a split, and hopefully for those of you guys that are printing, you're not printing for all of these markets, and we'll still be able to share some fun tips throughout the way and sales opportunities there. So there's no better way to dive in than go ahead and get started over at the Heat Press, printing some items for summer. So I'm going to head over to the Fusion Heat Press that I have already booted up for a screen printed transfer. And now one thing about screen printed transfers that you'll find is that screen printed transfers open you up to being able to produce very quickly and easily a lot of different designs. And when we look at tournaments, which will be the first market that we're going to look at in printing for sports tournaments and different industries, one thing that I see a big opportunity with is being able to print shirts specifically for that tournament. Now traditionally those are always screen printed, but with a heat press and screen printed transfers, we can get those same looks. And so we'll print this design, and then I'll show you exactly how it was created in the designer. But this design specifically is one that is built for tournaments or rosters for baseball teams, and it allows you to put all of the names on the back. That's a great opportunity to sell for every single team and every player and every tournament in your area. And so you should be pitching these products if you're not already offering to do this for the area, the teams around your area. It's very quick and very easy with screen printed transfers. I'm just going to go ahead and load this 100% cotton t-shirt onto my Fusion Platen. And I'm going to personalize the back of it. Now I can easily personalize the front with the actual school's name. Even if you're doing these for tournaments and you're having actual all of the teams on the back of the shirt, which I have one team here, that would open you an opportunity to personalize the front of every shirt with just that team's name. So it's still personalized for the team that's going to be wearing it, but still has the memorabilia of the tournament on the back. So with any heat transfer, I'm starting by preheating my item. I also have already loaded in an 11 by 15 platen and changed out my 16 by 20 just so I'd have it for some other applications ready to go, and we can show you more items rather than changing out platens. It's very easy to change though, just a small knob underneath the heat press here to change that out. So now that I've preheated that, I'm going to line up my screen printed transfer on the back of my shirt. This transfer is goof proof, so it applies traditionally at 365 degrees for 4 seconds and a firm pressure. It's available from Transfer Express. I have my temperature of my heat press down a little bit so I can print multiple items here, so I'm only down at 340 degrees. So it was a little longer dwell time. But goof proof applies 365 for 4 seconds. I can hot peel that carrier back, so this becomes garbage. I can throw that sheet away. And now that was a really quick and easy way for me to put a roster or a tournament team on the back of this shirt with a screen printed fill. And it's incredibly easy to make as well. Obviously you can see how quick it is to print this item. But what I want to do is I want to show you how you can create something like this with your actual business and being able to create it with Transfer Express. So I'm going to walk over and get onto my computer here where I've already loaded up Transfer Express's EasyView Designer. And if you just go to transferexpress.com, this is their EasyView Designer. And one of the benefits of Transfer Express, if you're not familiar with their organization and what they offer, is they offer a complete custom designer that allows you to use their templates and use their artwork and create very quickly custom screen printed designs for your customers. And one of the things they offer are roster designs. So I'm going to go ahead and start with a blank sheet and pick my layout design. And so I'll go into layouts here, and I can select the category, as you can see, of what I want to be printing for. So I'm going to go down to schools and over to rosters. And this is going to allow me to see all of the roster options I have for a ton of different markets, which really opens you up to things outside of summer. But I'll select a style that I like, maybe depending on the market I'm printing for, or just the layout style. This looks like the one that we had started with. So we'll select this one here. And I can make any customization that I want. This would work really well for either a team, or I could change the name to say maybe Smithfield Youth Tournament, just by double clicking the letters, making that edit. So I changed it to Smithfield. I want this to be a tournament. So I'm going to type that in here, and it can say the custom name of the tournament that you're printing for. If I want to change these from baseballs to maybe a mascot logo or something, I can do all of that as well inside this designer. And so one thing you're also going to notice, it has all of the names lined up for you to be able to start adding names in to your designer. So what I can do is I can select each one of them individually. I can start adding in names. Or this one has actually set up a roster. And so one of the really cool things about the designer for Transfer Express is the rosters are built up with an option for you to be able to edit multi-line text. And so I have two options. I can go through and I can start adding in all of the team's names. So I can have Brunswick Bulldogs. I could have the Smithfield Hornets. But as you can see, as I'm typing these in, sometimes when it comes to entering names and typing them, especially very quickly as I'm doing here, you can get some errors. And so it also allows you the option of importing in a text file. So you can ask your customers to actually send you all of the names written in a text file. And you can import that text file in, and then that way it'll drop in all of the names. So it gives you the option of putting it onto your customer and saying, send me all of the names in a text file. All I've got to do is import it in, and they can export any Word document out into a TXT file, which is what you would want for this. That way you just have to import it in, click OK, and then you won't have to type them all in yourself. But you'll see as I start to make those changes, it edits all of the names directly on the roster. And so that allows me to start creating these custom rosters and adding names for my specific customers in the tournament that I'm printing for. If I want to add coaches' names or maybe sponsors, I can also do that on this area here. Or I could just delete them out by right-clicking the one that I don't want and clicking delete on my computer screen. So multiple options for you as far as customizing and making this what you want, but there's a big opportunity with this designer in these roster designs and decorating. And so that's one opportunity that I definitely see. Now looking at other opportunities, I'll switch back over to my Fusion here and talk a lot about opportunities while you're at the tournament. Because there's some opportunities for printing while you're specifically at the tournament there that allows you to kind of benefit from add-on sales. So things that people wouldn't think about purchasing maybe prior to the event, but they're there, then the heat of the moment, and they want a personalized shirt with maybe their kid's name on it, or something for their kid to remember that season that they played. And so one opportunity, what we're going to look at, is actually printing a cinch bag. And I'm going to start to cool my heat press down while we load that on. It wants to be down at around 320 for my next application. And when you're looking at personalizing items and adding more one-offs, you're going to want to consider switching away more from screen printed transfers and being able to personalize them with a vinyl cutter or heat transfer vinyl. And so printing at events, you could easily take a very small cutter and cut custom designs and being able to personalize them while you're at the event with a heat press and a small cutter. If you happen to see within the last week and you're a big NFL fan, you probably noticed that the NFL draft happened. This is something that Stahls even leverages with that event and being able to quickly customize jerseys or even things over at Draft Town for people by just cutting the name and heat applying them directly on to the item. And there's a lot of people that do this because it allows for a lot of opportunity for growth. Now, to be able to print this bag, I am going to switch out my bottom heat press here from the platen from the 11 by 15. And I'm going to drop in a very small size that's actually new and perfect for printing that really narrow part of this cinch bag. And it is a 4x4 platen, so you can tell and see it's very, very small and designed specifically for printing really difficult areas to get to. So this is perfect for this cinch bag where I'm seeing a lot of area here and I'm worried about this piping and these thick parts getting into the way. So I'm going to thread my bag on so I can isolate my print area for my design there. And then I can line up my design for personalizing. Now remember, when you're creating designs like this, if you're using that 4x4 platen, you do want to make sure that 4x4, the design is going to fit on that 4x4 platen since you're sizing it down so small. I'll preheat to get some of the moisture and wrinkles out. Also allows me to adjust my pressure since I've changed to that smaller platen. Now for personalizing this very quick and very easy, what I want to do is I'm going to use CAD Cut Fashion Film. And for multiple reasons, fashion film is very inexpensive, very easy to use, allows me to cut fine detail. Also because it allows me to have a really easy way to create two-color designs. So with this design, I'm actually going to tack my first layer for only 2 seconds at 320 degrees. And then I'm going to remove that hot peel carrier. And then I can overlay it with my top design. And so if you want to create a logo like this, I could take all of these bags printed with just a paw print to sell at the event and then offer for an additional charge for people that want their design printed with a name or a number. I can quickly add that personalization name drop right down on there and just sell it at an additional fee. Make sure this is all on the platen so it gets a full application. And then I have a little bit of heat transfer material exposed here, so I am going to cover this with my cover sheet. And I'm going to seal it for the full application. And so for fashion film, that is 15 seconds at 320 degrees. And so just to recap, anytime you do that multi-step application, you do want to tack it for 2 seconds for that background layer, peel your carrier hot, and then overlay your top layer. And that just helps to speed it up and also make it easier for lining up graphics. If you were going to sell these without the personalization, you would want to do 15 seconds and 15 seconds. So we've got that completely personalized there. It's a little hard to see the angel since I did a tone-on-tone effect. So I could play around with the colors a little bit, maybe make that white inside of this design. But it allows me the opportunity to start adding names and numbers directly onto items and selling them for a variety of markets. And so this is one opportunity for printing at events, being able to personalize small bags. I did that with the Hotronix Fusion and the 4x4 platen. And then for my next design, I want to talk about mom, or the other people that are at the events cheering on their children, and they want to make sure they're showing their spirit wear, and they may have forgot to order a shirt or may have forgot to order something whenever the team sold their items. And so we're going to offer to personalize them directly on site. And this follows that same rule of thumb where I talked about sending things that are pre-printed or stock printed and then offering to add the personalization. So it's very quick, very easy. I'm going to show you how to print the front and the back during this session, but ideally you would take these with the front all printed and then just personalize the back for an additional charge. All right, drop in the 11 by 15 here for my mom's shirt. When you're selecting blanks, the blank that you choose for your design is also really important because you want something that's going to be trendy and is going to sell well. So we're going to stay away from those regular boxy t-shirts and offer something a bit more fashionable and a t-shirt style for mom. I did switch to my 11 by 15, so I'm adjusting my pressure back before I lock it down because I know it needs a little bit taken back. All right. And then for this material, I'm going to chazz it up a little bit, and I'm going to use a heat transfer vinyl that's been cut on a vinyl cutter called CAD Cut Glitter Flake. Of course, bling sells. especially to moms, and being able to offer that and show it helps to stand out. Actually, I'll have to rotate this. My design's a little larger than my 11 by 15 platen. These platens are completely interchangeable, so remember that as you're creating your designs and ordering your platens or finding ways to use them. Got our shirt loaded back on there. Just like with that CAD cut fashion film that I had showed you, I'm going to actually just tack this design for a few seconds, about 3 to 5 for CAD cut glitter flake. And then I can peel the carrier back and line up my second color. So again, just speeds up the application, makes it easier for lining things up. And then inside, I just want a little bit fashionable, so it says Baseball Mom with a baseball heart on the inside. I just found this clip art and purchased it from a site online. And then I'm going to reseal it for the full 10 seconds that CAD Cut Glitter Flake needs. This ensures the silver and the red both get the full application at 320 degrees. All right, hot peel that. So we're at our tournament, we're selling this t-shirt and we're offering this great glitter flake 2-color design to our customers and selling it, let's say, at the event for $20. You could offer to personalize the back for an additional fee and just increase the price of the shirt depending on the market that you're in and selling to. This again, I just did another name and number with a kid's name on the back so they can show who they're rooting for. And a 2-color just to add in that same baseball effect. Find my name here. So when I'm lining up the back of this design, I am going about center to the shoulder blades towards the top of the shirt, about 4 inches down from the crew neck. And then about 1 inch down from the name, I'm going to go ahead and add my number. When you're numbering the back of fan shirts, you're traditionally going to be a little bit closer and more fashionable than you are with the 2-inch gap space that we see with baseball uniforms. Apply this for the full 10 seconds. And so I could sell this with just the name and number personalization. I can do multicolor or I could do single color like I have here. And then if I want to add some more detail and design to it, I could quickly drop in some fun elements by adding those glitter laces on the heart design. And I have cut these so they register up to the letter. That way I'm not overlapping my glitter flake, which can cause some issues sometimes with durability. So if I want to add that in, I'll just apply it for another 10 seconds. Looks like we're up there on 10 seconds, so I'll peel this out. And then that creates our full design that's kind of offered to be personalized. And just keep in mind, if you're thinking about printing at tournaments and at events, this could even be a way, if you're not printing right now for the league, to start to get your name out there and get some sales from those markets. Karen, do I have any questions coming in before we move on from the sports market?
Could you suggest what kind of small cutter somebody would be able to take to one of these events?
Yeah, it depends. Actually, any 24-inch cutter is easily able to be mobile and take to the event. So I could easily switch from taking a Graphtec CE6000 or even a Roland GS24. A lot of people find that the 24-inch are easily taken and thrown up on a table or even on their stand. If you want something a little bit smaller and more compact, you'd be looking probably like a Silhouette Cameo or a smaller cutter like that that's maybe 15 or 12 inches. But rather than going investing, if you have a cutter that's 24 inches, as long as you have space for it on your table, that's what a lot of people use at their events. So you can even use the cutter that's in your shop. Perfect. And while we're on that topic and I'm switching to my next design, small heat presses are always good as well. The clam press like I have here is a bit more mobile than a Fusion heat press, just in the size and the weight of the machine. And so the Stahl's Max Press or the Stahl's Auto Clam are good options for heat presses that are portable. All right, so that covers a lot about sports tournaments. And the next market we're going to look at, and we have a lot to cover on, is vacations and the ability to print for those types of areas. And so I'm going to switch back to a screen printed transfer. And while I'm doing that, I want to talk about the opportunity with personalizing specifically for vacations. And so you can offer a lot of different options: bags, jackets, tank tops, shorts. You know, anytime you visit a resort or on vacation, there's obviously a lot of options. And so when we look at printing them, they're traditionally screen printed or embroidered. So we have a few options. We can dive into the screen printed market and offer screen printed transfers, which is one of the most popular for resorts and also just for printing with stock transfers for vacationing. And we can even look at adding personalization to these items to be able to increase the price and make them a bit more unique. And so we're going to start with stock transfers from Transfer Express. One thing I did do, I'll switch over to the overhead camera, but I want to show you that I've actually ganged, a little hard to see on these neon colors that I chose for this design, but I've actually ganged multiple designs together on this. That's one of the big benefits of using the larger transfer sheet from Transfer Express, which is 11 and a quarter by 14. I can gang together multiple sizes when I order them. That way I have my design for my t-shirt, my bag, and maybe a pair of shorts or something like that. All right, so I'll set this to the side. I'm going to load my tank top onto my heat press, and this is just a muscle tank that was purchased from Sanmar. And this the muscle tanks are really popular right now for summer as you're thinking of things you want to print. People are, especially for the beachy market, are wanting to add their bathing suit or their bandeaus underneath because they show through these deep armholes on the tank top. So it's a really neat and trendy piece. Got that loaded on. I'll give her a quick preheat, just like I do with all of my heat transfers. And then I can start to line up my transfer here. And so I actually printed this in a 3-color design. If I was going to stock a lot of these and offer to personalize different color shirts whenever somebody came into my store, or offering them even just for my customers, I did this as 3 colors so I can put it on any color shirt, but my third color was white. So traditionally I could do this as a 2-color if I was just printing the white shirt and cut some cost there. So this transfer, just like the first screen printed transfer that I used, is also goof proof. It applies traditionally at 365 degrees for 4 seconds. I have my heat press a little bit lower here, so I'm going to go ahead and tack it for 10 and hope it applies the same easy way the last one did with only 10 seconds at 340 degrees. As always, when you're printing these for your customers, you want to make sure to follow the recommendations. All right, so we've got a nice press there on that screen printed transfer. Cool full color design. Now this has a neon color. As you're printing for summer, neons are really popular, so you should be offering these types of designs and looks to your customers. And so this gives us something we can easily put on a tank top. Now I can take that other screen printed transfer that I just pressed and personalize a bag to add with it. I'm going to take out the 11 by 15, print a 6 by 10, so I'm actually going to take it off of my other heat press. The new interchangeable platens with all the Stahls presses that have that quick change latch can actually be changed from the clam and the fusion. So if you have multiple presses and you're looking to invest in a different style press but want to keep the other one up and running, your platens will switch between the two if you have the fusion and are looking to expand. All right, so now I've got a nice bag. And so what I did when I switched over to the 6 by 10 was I wanted to find a way to isolate my print area. And so I wanted to get these thick seams that could get into the way and cause some issues with durability off of the press, and I wanted just a nice flat area. And so that 6 by 10 is literally perfect for that spot. If it was a little more narrow, I'd probably switch to my 4 by 4, but this allows me more opportunity for personalizing and a larger space than that 4 by 4 would, so it worked out really well. I'm going to take 2 components here, so I'm going to cut off my other screen printed transfer from that transfer paper. And then below that you're seeing a name that's actually been added to this design. And so when you're thinking about mixing medias and creating additional designs, I can actually add in, assuming my design doesn't cover areas, but I can offer personalization either to add to the bag with a screen printed transfer, or just to add after the sale has been made and they've bought the garment. And so this again applies 10 seconds, 340 degrees. I can pair these two together. If I was doing this at the normal 365 degree application, I would apply the screen printed transfer first. Double check my pressure. I did not preheat. You should always preheat to check your pressure and get the item ready. Of course, if the item's not going to be laundered, like say a bag, you don't technically have to preheat that item and can save that step. But of course, if this is going to the beach, it may be laundered more than we think. Alright, so I'll peel back my design there. This is just 100% polyester bag, so this is that same goof-proof transfer that works really well. And then I'm going to line up my personalization element that I can either add before or after the print. And since I have some screen printed ink covered, I'm going to cover this with a piece of craft paper. That'll help to keep that matte finish true to the screen print as I press down my fashion film for 15 seconds. All right, so while we're finishing that one up there, Karen, do I have questions that have come in?
Yes. When using screen printed transfers, is there a way to get a shine to the print because they often have a dull finish?
As far as adding the sheen to the print, unless it's got a metallic in it, you're not usually going to be able to add a sheen. The only thing you could do that I would recommend is after you press the screen printed transfer, you could lay a non-coated, or I guess a non-stick coated cover sheet. Let me see if I have one here I can show you. If I grab this cover sheet and I placed it over top, this would actually add some sheen to the screen printed transfer. So that's why I chose to use the craft paper, because it gave me that matte finish. But this would definitely add a little bit of sheen to it. Any other questions? Okay, perfect. So again, that gives you some opportunities for personalizing for the resort, adding personalization. I can easily pair these items together by offering the bag, as well as the tank top is kind of a really cool, unique look for summer. And of course, pairing together those neon looks, those neon colors are really popular. Although I can't print every bag idea that I have, and I have a ton of them, I want to just talk about show you one more quick opportunity for printing for the summer market, and just thinking about printing for events, pool parties, and things like that with neon colors, and being able to offer these as well for any kind of parties or events, kind of like the way you would for normally a bachelorette party, but this is another way to do it as well. Okay, so another idea for summer, and if I haven't shown you guys enough, I'm only about halfway through, so stick with me, there's a lot more here. I want to talk about printing shorts, and so I want to pair these items with maybe a tank top or a t-shirt or different items. And I'm going to use actually a transfer that's been designed for heat sensitive items. This is 100% polyester board short. It's incredibly thin, soft, moisture wicking, so I'm worried about it being very heat sensitive underneath the high heat of the heat press. And so I've actually turned this press here down to 280 degrees. So it's going to allow me to print these shorts successfully using a low temperature heat transfer. There are low temperature screen printed transfers if you wanted to go that route, like the Elasti prints from Transfer Express, but I went and chose a option that's a CAD cut transfer for this design. And the reason I did that is just to add some more personalization. And this logo and this design we'll show you guys on another item that we print at the Fusion, but the artwork was actually purchased from or ordered through the Great Dane Graphics subscription-based software. And so if you have subscriptions to Great Dane Graphics, or if you're looking into them, they allow you to reach a whole lot of markets, including vacations and sports and everything that I'm going to show you here with all of these items. And they've got a lot of really cool different resort designs. This one's pretty trendy. I thought would work well on the board short here that I'm printing. So I've preheated to get my moisture and wrinkles. This product, I don't know if I mentioned, is CAD Cut Premium Plus. So I cut it on my vinyl cutter, and it has the option to apply at 280 degrees for 8 to 10 seconds. And so I've set my temperature here for 10 seconds. Double check and make sure my pressure is where I need it to be. And that's going to allow me to print this design successfully without having to worry about scorching the shorts under that high heat. So I'll peel back the carrier. Premium Plus is a warm peel, so usually let it cool down a little bit before you start to peel it. And that gives me my complete design. And so I'll show you guys that there, just in how I was able to personalize that with a resort name, or even I could personalize it with somebody's name, and adding that really cool piece of clip art from Great Dane Graphics with the sun and the waves and everything. So, you know, artwork specifically sells items, and so as you're looking to go beyond just adding text and names and really cool different designs, this is a great way to do it with that artwork piece there. And so I'm going to take that same piece of art and I want to add it to another item. It's a little bit more unique, and I'm going to bring in my umbrella. And so I depended on whether or not I was going to do a grand reveal with this and pop it up, but I think that's bad luck for umbrellas, so I'm going to print this without having to do that. And so I'm going to drop in my smaller platen, switch this 6x10 back. It's getting a lot of legwork here between the two presses. And with a beach umbrella, I can decide if I want to do a small design or even personalize a larger segment, since the panels of the umbrella are so large. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to thread this on, and I can heat press this on either platen or either heat press. All I want to make sure is that when I load this on, I'm getting a flat print area in between these two items. There we go, bring that in through there. Once I have that set on my platen, all I need to do is go through the same steps I would for everything else. Preheat it to get some of the moisture and wrinkles out. Actually a little bit high of a heat here, so I'm going to start to pare it down towards 320, which is what I want for this product. Now when you're purchasing beach umbrellas, there's a variety of places you can purchase these types of large golf or beach umbrellas from. Leeds World is one. They sell a lot of promotional products. Stanmore also has some different umbrella options. I tend to go usually towards somewhere like Leeds, since they have a ton of different styles available. And then you have to decide what material you're going to be printing. So this one is a nylon base. Some are polyester and some are nylon. If you're looking at a nylon base, you need to make sure the heat transfer you're using has a nylon based adhesive. This product is CADcolor Gorilla Grip. And so Gorilla Grip has the adhesive that I'm going to need so it'll stick and stay to this item. I am going to cover it to hold it down with a cover sheet before I press. And then I can heat apply this for the application. Now Gorilla Grip is a two-step application, so I'm going to tack it down for 2 seconds, and then I need to let it cool completely and then cover it and seal it for the final application. And when you let things cool down, obviously keeping them on the platen is going to make it harder to cool down as quickly because that platen's a little bit hot. So I'm going to lift this up a little bit, hope to cool it down quicker. You keep something next to your heat press to keep it cool, maybe a piece of marble or a cookie sheet. Thinking about adding that to the studio here so we have them on the side. There we go, peel back the carrier once it's been completely cooled down. It's actually still a little bit warm. I actually got an E off there, so we were able to lose that. You want to make sure it's completely cool. I'm going to try to save it here real quick. Nope, not going to be able to save it there. All right, so I'm going to cover it, seal it for the full 10 seconds. So it's 2 steps, 2 seconds, and then 10 seconds for the final application. Because the heat transfer vinyl is exposed, I am covering that back up to ensure it stays on the item and not on my heat press platen. Peel back my cover sheet, then we've got a completely personalized umbrella ready to sell, ready to pop up for the beach here. So like I said, you can go creative with being a simple design like I've done here, or even go a little bit larger since you've got so many large panels on this beach umbrella. But it adds some cool ways to add personalization. This works well for a resort, but I could also, if I wanted to, add maybe a family name. If you're like me, my family and I've gone to the beach for a number of years, we never really remember which umbrella is ours, whether it gets blown away or anything like that. So adding personalization to it can help if you lose your umbrella on the beach or not sure where your family was when you walked away. So that's an option too. Thinking about adding names and personalization to things you're taking at the beach, I'm also going to look at a beach chair. And so adding personalization to the back or the front of a beach chair is a really great opportunity by adding names or designs. This one specifically, I'm just going to add a name to the back. I could choose to personalize the front as well, either as an addition or anything like that, but I tend to think people usually see the back of the chair the most, so I want to be able to personalize that area. Now to do that, I'm going to switch out my 11 by 15. See where I put it here. And I'm going to load my chair on there. Depending on where you purchase the chairs, again, Sanmar, Leeds World are two good options. S&S Activewear for camping chairs or beach chairs. From my experience, Leeds World has the most robust offering when it comes to chairs because they tend to fit that market. But sometimes the chairs will actually have a panel that can be removed from the back. If not, all I need to do is load my item on here. I can preheat this if I want, but I'm actually not going to. Think of where I put my transfer here. There it is. And this is actually 100% polyester, so I've just cut a name here for the back. Now, with this 100% polyester item, I'm a little concerned with dye migration just in the denier polyester that the chair is made out of. So I've chose thermofilm. I always recommend that for any outwear items because it's the most durable heat transfer as far as lasting outdoors into abrasion and things like that a chair is going to go through. Thermofilm, adjust my pressure a little bit here, applies at 330 degrees for 8 to 10 seconds. Oh, still a little too much on that 11 by 15. So I'll lock that down for those 6 to 8 seconds. The cool thing about this one is that the chair actually fit perfectly on this 11 by 15 platen. So that's one of the big benefits of having interchangeable platens and a threadable heat press is because you're able to load items like this on easily without having a table get into the way and also being able to add that personalization to the back of the chair. And so I'll be able to show that here. Just by adding personalization, I can get creative with monograms on the back of the front here. I can add hearts, I can add clip art, but just a really fast, easy way to add that personalization to the back of a beach chair. So a really cool idea there for vacations. And so vacations offer a lot of opportunities for personalizing and adding designs and specifically artwork to your customers. One other opportunity I want to look at, so we've looked at sports resorts and we've looked at sports tournaments, we've looked at resorts and vacations as far as adding personalization and printing. And then lastly, I want to talk about family reunions. I know everybody has a family reunion every year. They love them and they would love to commemorate them with a nice family reunion shirt. Just like I had showed you guys earlier in the session, we'll take a look after we print this at how to create designs like this in the EasyView Designer from Transfer Express. They've got a ton of designs, a ton of templates already built in where I can add the names. And because there's usually a lot of people that are going to family reunions and getting these personalized shirts, you want to make sure to, the reason I would use a screen printed transfer, make sure this will fit here, is because I'm going to be ordering a larger amount of items. So this looks like it'll fit on my 11 by 15 platen, so we'll leave that on there. Just loaded my shirt. Preheat it to get some of those moisture and wrinkles out since I'm back to an apparel item that's going to be laundered. And then I can line up my two-color design here, making sure I'm completely on this platen, about 3 inches down from the crew neck of my shirt. And then we're actually going to allow this to heat up just a hair before we press it down. So Karen, while this is heating up, could you switch me over to my computer here? I'm going to show everybody how to create this design when they get over to their computer. So here you're seeing where we started with that tournament shirt. So I'm going to create a new design, tell the designer from Transfer Express that yes, I want to replace that current design. And then I can go back into their idea book layouts. And the idea book layouts are where you have all of those different ideas that they've created, and they're always coming up with new artwork for different occasions. So I'll go select category, occasions, and then here you'll see family reunion. So there's so many on here that they've actually created a section for all of the opportunity that you can get for printing for family reunions. And I always laugh when I see this wanted one because I think we can all relate to having one of those for our families or being able to sell those to our customers because it's kind of a humorous and funny way to commemorate the event. Any of the ones I want to choose, whether it's just a basic family reunion, something funny. Maybe I'm going to add a tree like I have done for my design. There's just a whole range of options available for family reunions. Let's see if I can find one I like. I'm so overwhelmed by the wanted. I feel like I want to go that way, but I kind of want to show the tree. Let's see, here's the tree one we're going to print, so we'll show you guys how to customize and personalize for that one. Instead of saying Compton, we'll add a name. We'll add my family reunion since it's Kibitza. I can add different script, different fonts there. I went ahead and added that all block letters, so let's make it single so it looks a little bit different there. So I've got Kibitza resized easily and perfectly to fit onto that tree, which is a nice feature in the EasyView Designer. Here again is where we're seeing where I can actually edit the names individually. So different from that typesetting roster where I had done those lines. This one I'm going to have to individually edit because I want to be able to move things around as I like. So I'll just click name 1. We'll add Michael. We'll add my name, Courtney. We'll add Karen's name just by selecting all of these and editing them. And you can see I can start to really edit. Now, if I got all of the names on here and I wanted to add one more, all I would need to do is copy and paste an extra name on here, and it would drop another option for me to move it around and add in the name that I want. And so you can decide and find what roster fits your event the best. I can edit the location, I can edit the date, I can add any clip art, additional items I'd want to add to this. If I decided I wanted to do this as the back of the shirt and also add a left chest design, I could do that by adding clip art or adding another layout that I like. And so really you can start to gang sheet multiple items for different designs and different customers. So I like this family, I think it makes a nice left chest logo. And I can start to change and pair these on here so I can add some left chest logos and just use the full sheet to my advantage because I've got that opportunity and I'm paying for all of that space. So that gives you some ideas for the EasyView Designer. Like I said, get around and play with that a little bit. I'm back over at the heat press here. We're up at 340. So I'm going to press this goof-proof transfer, which is kind of my go-to, as you can see, for most items that are cotton and polyester. It's probably going to be 90% of the screen printed transfers that you're ordering unless you've got heat-sensitive items. Hot peel that carrier. And there you're seeing that same template design that we just personalized for the family reunion. Been able to change the date, the place, and everything to make it personalized for the customer that I was printing. Karen, do I have any questions coming in?
Yes. Could you go over how you can use EasyView Designer, how you can get access to it?
Yeah, absolutely. So EasyView Designer, I guess I can mention it here. EasyView Designer is available at transferexpress.com. Actually, I'll go back to the computer and show you where you can get access to it. So it is available for anybody who's a dealer of Transfer Express because they are designed for you to create designs for those screen printed transfers. And so I'll go to transferexpress.com, maybe. Wasn't quite quick enough for my Google search. So if you go to transferexpress.com, you'll need to sign up as a dealer so you can create an account for your customer, for your business. Also, another easy way to get access to all of this is to purchase a marketing kit from Transfer Express. So if you haven't experienced the marketing kit, you can see it here under marketing kits. And if you want one of these, just type in marketing kit and we'll make sure somebody calls you with a introductory price or a special price for that item for being here at the live event today. But the marketing kit is available and it has 30 different transfers in it, just like a lot of the ones that I've shown you here. So same thing like the tournaments, the family reunions. It allows you to create samples to show your customers you can create these looks in addition to a ton of other sports and school designs. But that also gives you access to your own personal idea book with your business name where you can show your customers the clip art options, and gives you access to the online designer as well as a $10 off coupon and just a ton of other really cool stuff in that kit. And it runs $49.99 for that marketing kit. But just go to transferexpress.com and it's the EasyView Designer there. Any other questions, Karen?
Do you have any suggestions on how to power equipment at games or trade shows?
As far as powering equipment, it depends on the event and where you're at. If they have a power supply you can access, that's one option. A lot of decorators also go towards a generator and taking that with them to events so that they can print on site at the location. So either using the power if it's a facility where it's has a lot of power supply. Now if you're outdoors at an event, you're probably going to want to take a generator for that. Awesome. So looks like we've got everything up and running here today. Hopefully we've shared a lot of ideas to help you guys be able to start selling some stuff for summer. It's already here, so it's time to start showing customers what you can do in creating these designs. But thanks for joining me. I'll see you next time.